Okay, so the tweet is, would Bukayo Saka make it into Real Madrid's starting 11? And Jamie O'Hara, esteemed pundit of TalkSport and Grosvenor Sport, he says, I think Saka would get into Real Madrid's starting 11 if he was over there. He'd probably play over Rodrygo. Very, very random, which I guess from there sparked an entire debate on the timeline about who's better between Rodrygo and Saka. Well, let me tell you this right now, because I'm seeing a lot of people link stats. StatMuse, for example, let me pull up this tweet. League stats in the last 4 seasons, 18 goals, 11 assists, 29 GA. First of all, right, if you say 18 goals and 11 assists, we understand what the GA is. You don't need to add it up for us. Thank you, those StatsMuse. 14 big chances created, 60 accurate crosses, 69 fouls won, 76 shots, 115 chances created, 139 passes into the box. That's not Saka or Rodrygo. That's the gap Saka has over Rodrygo. And you know what, chat? I might surprise you guys with what I'm about to say. When it comes to right wing, yeah, I believe Saka would start over Rodrygo. And yeah, I believe Saka is a better right winger than Rodrygo. Sue me. I do believe that. I've said it so many times on different platforms. I said it on James Alcott's platform. I said it on my BR platform, the eye test. Go check us out on YouTube. I've said it, I think, on SDS as well, too. I think Rodrygo is one of those players that is waiting to explode into superstardom. Like, for me, he is on the brink of becoming, for me, one of the best players in the world. I think he's a top player, but like, for me, one of the prestige premier players in world football. But I think that explosion comes when he inevitably stops playing on the right. For me, Rodrygo's potential, his ceiling, and how great of a footballer and impactful of a footballer he can be is capped when he plays on the right wing. And I think you even saw it last year for Real Madrid in that period where Vinicius was out injured or maybe was suspended and Rodrygo started playing more on the left and even occupying central areas. Rodrygo's game exploded. And in fact, for me, it flourished. It's like a flower, right? You finally got to see Rodrygo in his most comfortable position where he's allowed to make the most impact on the left. Or even, dare I say it, as a central player. You even saw it in the Champions League last year, right? Ancelotti, midway through the season, almost kind of changed it up a little. Before it was Rodrygo and Vinicius. Vinicius left, Rodrygo right. But Rodrygo was largely isolated on that right-hand side. But it almost became a case where Rodrygo was allowed full freedom to even drift onto the left at times and combine with Vinicius from there. And that really, for me, expanded his game way more. But I'm sorry, on the right, I just think Rodrygo's a good player. You guys might think I'm ignorant in saying this, but I'm a big believer in Rodrygo's game. I pay a lot of attention to this guy because sometimes I even feel like he's the forgotten guy at Real Madrid. I'm a big believer in his talent, but I think on the right, he's a good player, sometimes a very good player, but nothing special for me per se on the right. I don't know how much you guys are going to agree with that, but I think he's just a good player on the right. And for me, Saka is potentially the best player at his position. Obviously, you got the likes of Lamine Yamal. You got the likes of, obviously, Mohamed Salah. You have Bukayo Saka in those positions. Those three, on the right, excellent. Rodrygo is just good for me on the right. He's a very good player, capable of big moments. Obviously, the Champions League moments he's cooked up in the last few years, most notably against City, crazy. But Rodrygo on the left, this is where now I believe he can start entering these conversations with the best players in the world. I truly believe that. The issue is, I don't think it's ever going to happen at Real Madrid. Obviously, Vinicius is probably the best natural left winger on the planet. And if it's not him, it's the other guy who can play up front, or he occupies mostly spaces on the left, in Kylian Mbappe. He has those two, along with Jude Bellingham as well too, who, let's not forget, likes to occupy those left half spaces as well too. Those guys all love occupying those left-hand roles. Rodrygo has no chance of breaking in over any of those guys. And it's why ultimately I believe Rodrygo will end up leaving Real Madrid. I don't think, obviously it's not going to be this season. He's going to stay this year. He might even stay next year. Who knows? But within 2 seasons, I don't believe Rodrygo will be at Real Madrid anymore. I think he's going to end up being the fall guy. Because inevitably, bro, he's too talented to be a guy who just kind of hugs the right wing and hopes to get his touches here and there. A large part of those stats that I just read you between Saka and Rodrygo, that's nothing to take away from Saka, by the way, right? You guys know what I think about him. I think he's unbelievable. One of the best players in the world, especially in that position. But he also gets a whole lot more to the ball, bro. You look at Arsenal, everything goes through him. He's the guy. On the left, you hear all the time from Arsenal fans, oh, we don't feed Martinelli enough. It's not optimal for him in that role. Saka, bro, he gets triple teamed at times because everyone knows you stop Saka, you basically stop Arsenal. And they feed him, bro. They force feed him the ball. Please, Saka, get us out of trouble. And he's so unbelievable great that more time than not, he gets them out of that trouble. But he has the responsibility because he's that great. Rodrygo doesn't have that kind of responsibility, but he also doesn't kind of have that then license to be the main guy at Real Madrid. That's the harsh reality, bro. He's still trying to find a real role for himself in this team. And he's so talented that he has to feature one way or another. But don't get it twisted. Him playing on the right is merely because Ancelotti knows he's a brilliant player and he wants to get him in some way. But I wouldn't be surprised this year if come the end of the year, maybe Arda Güler is even featuring more on the right because he's more of a natural right-sided footballer. But this is not a slight at Rodrygo. Let me make that very, very, very clear. This is a guy that once he gets that move and is allowed to play in his favorite position throughout a whole season and is given that kind of responsibility. And hell, I've even hypothesized maybe it comes at Arsenal because Saka gets so much of the ball and has so much pressure on him as the right winger for Arsenal that nothing really comes from the left. Imagine Arsenal were to combine Saka on the right with a Rodrygo who gets to play on the left in his favorite position. I think all of a sudden you're looking at maybe one of the best wing duos on the planet. That's how highly I rate Saka, but it's also how highly I rate Rodrygo. I think on the right, very good player. On the left, chat, I truly believe with all my heart, you are looking at a guy that will be on the verge of universally being seen as one of the best footballers in the world. But I just don't think it comes on the right. That's my opinion on the whole matter. I think the better question is, who do you build your team around? Saka right wing or Rodrygo left wing? That's more of a debate. I completely agree with you. That's a very, very good question. I think at the moment you have to say Saka, right? Because you've seen him do it. A lot of what I'm saying about Rodrygo, yes, I truly believe it. But also, he has to go out on the pitch and prove that over a whole season, he can be seen as the guy with that much responsibility on his shoulders. And I believe he can do it, but he still has to do it. If you ask me who would I rather see at the moment, who would I rather give that kind of trust to, it has to be the guy who's done it for 3 years in a row now. It has to be Saka. You guys are saying Rodrygo left wing for me, higher ceiling. Rodrygo for me, he's so good. Now Rodrygo, Lyes, big moments. I hear it. I'm not trying to say, if you think you'd rather have Rodrygo on the left and Saka on the right, I think that's not a hot take whatsoever. But I think Saka's earned enough respect and enough it's not benefit of the doubt really, but like when you've done it for as long as Saka has at the level that he has, on the stages that he has, you have to give him, he has credit in the bank. That's what I'm trying to say here. He has a lot of credit in the bank. Rodrygo starts for every single team in the world, to be honest. Yeah, I agree, to be honest with you. I agree. Who doesn't he start for? I think he does. 100%. Rodrygo is, okay, even if you think there's better right wingers than Rodrygo out there, which I do, that team probably doesn't have a better left winger than Rodrygo.